We're on this sixth lap of the Elite Road Championship from Valkenburg, covering today 258 kilometres, all that's 161 miles of racing. Not very nice conditions. I thought it was getting a bit brighter a moment or so ago, but not on your Nelly. It still seems a bit mucky out there for these riders. The position we've had so far in the race, let me update you how the race has gone since we started out just after 10 o'clock. The first lap went round with no real action, as one would expect. To the first and second laps, they were parading round, just get themselves sorted out. And then it was on lap 3 that just after they came to the finish line, Anderson of Sweden took off and went on a lone attempt to get away from the field. Lekalin of the Soviet Union tried to go up to him, but didn't make it, so the Russian rider was soon absorbed by the main bunch. But eventually, as Anderson grew a fair lead, there was a real attack to pull him back, and we're looking on your screen now at just this one rider drifting away. Again, the Polish rider Krzysztof, and after going back to lap 3, Anderson was absorbed by a chasing group. These chasing riders managed to get away a lead of 1 minute 55 seconds by the time we came through lap 4. So that group that went away and caught up with Anderson was comprised of Gaydon of France, Lino of France, Hoy from Denmark, De Jong from the Netherlands, Vokam from the Netherlands, Hondo Germany, Abersold from Switzerland, Yemen also there from Switzerland, Kasipu from Estonia, Dexens from Belgium, Bunyo and Zanini from Italy. And they went away and stayed out there for a complete full lap, and then coming up onto the 5th lap, the Spanish rider had been driving hard on the front, and they managed to catch the breakaway group on the climb of the Valkenburg. We've come right the way round and down the finishing straight, and now we've just got this man drifting off the front on this lap 6. I'm very pleased to invite into the commentary point today a man who our Dutch viewers know very well indeed, because he's been commentating on the Tour de France with my colleague Paul Dorr. Jean-Paul van Poppel is coming here now to join me some of the commentary on the race so far. He won a couple of stages of the Tour de France in 1987, when he also took the green jersey. Another 4 stages of the Tour de France in 1988. He won that Vinendal race I mentioned before, and he went on to get another stage in the Tour de France. But I think I've counted these right. That makes something like about 8 stages of the Tour de France. Is that correct, John, or have I got it wrong, my count?
Yeah, you have one wrong. It's 9 stages.
9 stages.
Good afternoon for everybody.
Good afternoon. And you can hear in the background he speaks extremely good English, and I thought it was nice to have you here, John, because I know you speak good English, and also coming from your home, this is your home soil, isn't it now? It's nice to have you here joining us in the commentary box on what is not a nice day if you're sunbathing, but I suppose this sort of territory suits people like you and the Belgians and so on. What do you think about that?
No, not really, because last week started on, we call this water cold, and it was terrible the week before, and now it's just cold. It's a bit better than the week before, but it's wet today, and yeah, the riders have to go 260 kilometers. You know, this is a real, how we know this, the World Championships, long race, not much happening over there till the last 5, 6, 7 laps normally, but I think the race will go on much earlier now this year.
I was intrigued. I mean, you know the pro scene. I observe it. You've actually ridden it all those years. I was fascinated by that early breakaway that went off with Gianni Bunyo and Zanini in it. And Bunyo was really looked like to begin with. They were making it, I won't say 100% effort, but they weren't hanging about, and I couldn't understand the Italian tactic, because they always seem to me to want to control the race and let nobody go away. But Bunyo and Zanini, or perhaps Bunyo saying, this is my last championship of the world, I'll show at the front. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Zanini was there, and Zanini's unbelievably strong in the one-day races. He proved it before here in the Amstel Gold Race for a few years ago, where he's extremely strong in the final. So I didn't see it. I just came over and I heard from it. But anyway, those 2 Italians in front, 2 good Italians, and I think to make the race hard as possible, it was a good idea from Gianni Bunyo to try to block this race.
What intrigued me, though, and is that the way the Spanish chased it down, because under these sort of conditions, in the very wet, cold conditions, the Spanish seldom go north of the Pyrenees unless they can go to a nice, warm, rather mountainous race. I'm exaggerating, because when it comes to early season classics, you don't get many Spaniards on the start list, but there they were, driving hard, and I'm only thinking it might be for David Echeverria, because if you look at the list, they haven't got Olano riding for them. No. Malcolm Mauri's coming into good form, but I was a bit perplexed. Can you throw any light on why the Spaniards want to go that hard?
I don't know, because yeah, they're not a good man in the front. Maybe the tactic is on one other rider, and Yeah, it's 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, I believe the gap was, and you know, in this stadium of the race, it's not good with these riders in the front. You have to, if you want to do something in the Worlds, then you have to close the gap, and well, they have to do it, and they close it. And I don't know for who's the man on the front there, who's gonna be in the final. I don't know. Well, we have to see in the
Yes, we do. We've been trying to pick people's brains. We see this big group together here, John Paul, about who could be the man on this course. I mean, you know many of these roads around here, and you know many of the riders. You've seen them. You've raced with some of them. Who be your tips? Let's pick 3 names out today that you think should be up on the rostrum at the end.
Yeah, for sure, it's going to be Michele Bartoli is one of the favorites, of course, but everybody knows, so it's very difficult for him to win this race. Anyway, he's still one of the numbers 1, what I think about it. Anyway, so further on, I think we have to look in the Dutch, because it's cold, it's wet, and the wind has changed. So they have had wind on the Cowbear, who's not that long. But if the Italian won't make a gap, they have to do that on the Cowberg and in the final. So I think, the Dutch riders have a good chance to do well. We saw a good race from the Dutch. Not only the girls have done well, the junior girls, the juniors, the Neos they disappointed a little bit, but well, they all ride good, and I think we have to look in some people from...
Yes, with the Dutch, when you're on home soil, presumably the crowd round about are going to give you a big lift. And I was intrigued the way, coming here, knowing it was going to home soil, the way that Bogart was riding in the Tour of Spain. He seemed to me to be riding not all the way flat out, and many riders seem to look upon the Tour of Spain as an opportunity for them to come good for the World Championships. And how's Bogart going? Any information about him?
Yeah, he's okay. There's no doubt about it. He just ride the Tour of Spain for preparation for this World. So 3 weeks of preparation only for this World. I think he's gonna be real good, and they're gonna ride for him. All the team is ready to take him into the final.
Well, that was, I think, one of the tips that we've heard elsewhere, and I've also got on my little short list Andre Chamil and Lance Armstrong. That's Bartoli, Bogart, Lance Armstrong, Chamil. So we've got 4. We'll pick out some more for us to go through. But John Paul, you just mentioned about the Dutch riders we've already seen in the championship here, and you've got. Let me look at your cap. It says Dutch selection, because you're in charge of the ladies' side of the Dutch racing, aren't you?
Yeah.
And what exactly is your job there?
I'm the overall coach of the national Dutch ladies. So
tell us about how you felt when Leontine van Morse got that gold medal, eh?
Yes, it was beautiful. She came back after a few years. She didn't race for 2 years. 2 years ago she started on a little bit, but she was 84 kilograms, I think. Maybe there's a puncher.
I want to see one of your lads too as well. That's a bit of disappointment, isn't it? But fairly quick change. But fortunately, we at this particular race, the race was actually getting a bit quicker too, wasn't it? That's not so good to go at this particular part. That's Danny Nilsson, the previous amateur champion in the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's had a rather checkered career, hasn't he? He's come in and gone out again. Yeah.
He come back. No problem.
I like the way he dismissed that. Ladies and gentlemen, listening about that, this man's done it all, you see. I think 11 years as a professional race. You see somebody playing, oh my God, he said, get back, no problem.
Yeah, he's getting back in the bunch, no worries. He come back in the cars, and then from one to the other car, you can come back easily when you have a puncher. When you drop, that's something else. But anyway, Leontine came back for 2 years ago. She was 84 kilograms, I believe, and well, this year she started on very hard for her to get a good form, and still over too much weight on her, and she did better and better. And after the national championships, who she was winning real easily. She believed in herself. She could come back on the highest level, but she hired for the international girls like Ziliutis all the year. She was the favorite for the Worlds, and nobody knew what Formosa could do. But we saw her in the Tour of Holland. She was so extremely strong there. So I really believed she could have a good chance in the time trial, because that was her favorite. She say, I go for the time trial and see later on what I can do on the road. So the time trial we know it's she win by 37 hundredths or something from Zabrirova, the Russian, who's also Olympic champion. So that was beautiful. And then yesterday she did a very good race. She was a bit scared because in the morning the juniors was riding and have a lot of crashes over there, and she was so scared about the crashes. So she raced on from the beginning and on the front, and I think she did too much. And later on she came in the final and she takes Longo back on the Bemelerberg, and I think that kills her a little bit. But there was a choice: let Longo go or leave her, let her catch her back.
Yeah, Jenny Longo, I thought, Jean-Paul, rode a rather strange race. The girls we interviewed, Maria Lawrence and Louise Jones, two our riders, that in the crashes earlier on, they were quite near to the front and they were brought down. They couldn't continue. In fact, we lost quite a lot of girls in the crashes from the British side, but they were saying that Jenny Longo likes to ride at the back, then come through at the back end, but she had to work very hard to come through. Well, we're going to take a short break now, so we'll pick up the ladies' race after this break, and I hope you'll stay with us on Eurosport for the rest of the day as we're here at Valkenburg in the Road Championship of the World. Turn in Valkenburg, where the crowd has really taken to this race. They've been giving a great shout to everybody who comes round this bend and up the other side on this circuit of 17.2 kilometres, coming 15 laps in all. That's 10 3/4 miles, a total distance of 161 miles, and this is the nasty little bit where that group begin to prize themselves off the front. We've been seeing us all the way through where little bunches have managed to get away, and the main group behind never seem to let them get too far down the road because there's so much at stake in this, the World Championship. This is the 65th championship, whether we call professionals, they call elites now, but as the pros date back, the 65th of the championship. And on this particular circuit we're looking at now, all paths have been used before at Valkenburg when Jan Raas won in 1979. I was here at the time with the TI Rally team, and we were really absolutely pleased with that particular performance, following on as he did the one when Jerry Knateman won the Championship of the World the year before at Nürburgring. But looking back in the Valkenburg series of World Championships, Brick Schott was a winner here in 1948, and then Marcel Kind was a winner in 1938. So jolly interesting with an 8 in there. We've had two winners here, Kind and Brick Schott, and now Jan Raas in 1979, who will get it this year, the 4th time we got the championship. This other group climbing up this Valkenburg. I tried to talk to people, Jean-Paul, about the gradients. It's difficult to tell, but this is quite a steady drag. You raced up enough time. It is worse than it looks, isn't it, eh?
Yeah, it's worse. The first part of it, till halfway, there's no problems. You can do it with the big plateau, 53 in the front and 17 on the back. But then the problems come, and you have to change back to your little ring. So you call them England, I think. The little ring, 44, most of them, and then you go 17, 18. And after so many laps, you get harder and harder. So you break your legs on it.
Yes, but we saw one or two of the riders in the, I think it was the junior race, when and the Espoirs, when they flicked the chain and went for the outside ring, and it dropped off on the inside and fell off because they must be the effort of changing at this particular point. So getting the gears right is perfect, and you have to do exactly right on this particular point. But certainly with the women going back to the way that Jenny Longo rode, but we saw her coming through the gaps all the time and chasing it down. Strikes me very strange tactics for her to lie at the back, then in the last 1 or 2 laps decided to come through, because gaps are opening up all the time. Very chancy thing for her to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, she's always doing that. I see this for a whole year. This is my first year I'm behind on the cars, and I see him doing her this all year, always on the back, going to the front when the gaps are there. So she has to jump from one group to the other one. She's so extremely strong. It's unbelievable. She's, I think, 39, 40 years old, but still so strong.
But do you think now, when she used to do that, it seems that the women are racing stronger much later in life? They, between 30 and 40, there's some very, very top girls where most of the riders are beginning to go on the wane as far as men are concerned. There are exceptions, of course, the Pouladors this world. Zoltamilk late in his up to 40 when he's still racing very strong. But these girls seem to do it, the women. But surely in Longo's case, if you keep charging across gaps, if you rode a little more constructively near the front, perhaps she'd show a bit of strength. I was concerned she was doing so much closing down. She had a lot of work to do to get up to it yesterday, which perhaps hurt her when we came to that final climb.
Yeah, that's right. She was so strong yesterday again. For the one-day race, she's still one of the favorites, but yeah, the race was not exactly in her in her good mood, because she has this this wind, this rain. She doesn't like it at all, and I think she hates Holland and all the Dutch girls.
She said some very rude things, didn't she?
Yeah, she said nasty things about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's a bit strange anyway.
Yeah.
We have this Coupe du Monde a few weeks ago here in Holland. It was raining and wind, and she is just riding on the back, and then she was dropped for 100 meters, and well, she left the gap 100 meters. She came back to 50 meters. And we thought, no, when the bunch was calming down, that she could go to the bunch, but she refused. You know, it's like, I don't want to go back. It's just riding here because I have start, but so. A crazy woman.
Yep. Well, I certainly thought her tactic yesterday very strange, and she's had more than a fair share of trouble any longer with the federation too. She didn't want to ride their pedals. She didn't want to do this. She didn't want to do something else. She wanted to do all her own things. And I like individualistic people, because I think that's good for the sport when you have people who don't fit all within the norm. But sometimes when you're running a team like you are, you expect certain parameters, certain ways in which they would respond to the requirements of the team. If you want to answer your telephone from time to time, Jean-Paul, just press the button.
It's not mine. Just listening. It's not mine.
These mobile phones, they're going off all over the place. We just wonder who's here. It's quite fascinating when you're walking along sometimes. They can be going to the press room and there's a lot of people, and suddenly you go, and they all reach for the telephones to see which one it is that's gone off. Well, that's a little group of riders that have gone through now at the end of the seventh lap of the race, and the group going through, including Vassar, Pedemans, Jarman, Dietz, Van Heijzik, Matten and Donati.
Yeah, we saw Danny Nellis coming back in the bunch again. I think it was Bart Voskamp this time. He was in the front. The lap before was Martin Bakker, I think. Saw him passing in the group in the front. So the Dutch do have a good tactic. They're on the race and have a good schedule, and everybody seems to be all right. So there's Rolf Sørensen who passing down on the cars, some material problems maybe. Some Germans who passing.
They've dropped one of their top men, because 41-44, two of the Germans looking back at their shoulder, coming to the finishing line here. And so they've got Hondo and Lisa are waiting, maybe for Aldag or Boltz to come through.
Thorsten Smit was passing. Maybe he's the one where they're waiting for.
No, this isn't all the Germans. We're just looking over our shoulder. You watch the pictures, ladies and gentlemen. We're just seeing who's coming through here, because it does seem that perhaps it was Thorsten Smit they're waiting for, because we just watched Alan Johansson go through for Denmark, and no Germans yet. All the numbers 111. That's the Russian rider Dolgy. He's off the back too, and oh, there is one just come through, and it's number 42, and that's Huntermark. Well, will they go back for Huntermark? And he doesn't seem like he's too bothered. He looks like he's riding in almost into the pits.
Yeah, I believe so.
So they must have gone back to Schmidt then, I suppose, because he looked like he was just going to coast down into the finish. Well, most of the vehicles have gone through now. We can't see anybody else of note, so we're going back up. We're now watching our monitors here of the race going on, and as ever, the Italians looking good. Luca Cinto on his screen. And just confirmation then of that last lap. That was the seventh lap we've just been through. The average speed, it's shot up now. This is typical of the professional racing. It's now gone faster. That lap was 44.308. Just a puncture coming up then, a puncture for 123, David Klinger of the United States, coming up on the headphones. The average speed then 44.308 kilometers per hour, and the time then 23 minutes and 17 seconds for that lap. That was the seventh lap in all. They've now covered 120.4 kilometers. The average speed of the race is increasing all the time. It's gone up to 41.977 kilometers per hour. The elapsed time as they came through there was 2 hours, 52 minutes and 5 seconds. A reminder of the riders in that leading group then: Cedric Vasseur, number 12 in the break. Wilfried Peters, number 81 in the break from Belgium. The Swiss rider, number 65, Ralf Jarman in the break. And the German rider was Bert Dietz, number 39. From the Netherlands, Max van Heeswijk, number 34. And for the Belgium, Nico Matten, number 79. And the Italian rider, number 97, is Massimo Donati. So that's the little group going through. But with a 40-second lead they've got as they came through at the end of the 7th lap. There we are. This is that quick problem with the puncture. The speed has shot up a bit now, so it's not really the ideal place to puncture, but it looks like Danny Nelson got back.
Rolf Saracen had a puncture here.
Now they should go back for him, shouldn't they?
Yeah, normally they have to wait for him. But it's no panic. There's car in the back, and so long the peloton is not really riding that fast.
And this is a very fast part of the course.
Oh, there he is. There's somebody to help him.
I think he was actually dropped that other Danish. So he just come up back. Yes, I think he was dropped. There was one sort of hanging back a bit off the back before. So he's probably going. It's pretty useful he's come through. He's gone a bit too quick though, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, they're between the cars now.
So, what's that doing on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's one of the...
Always dangerous.
Yeah, that's one of the UCI officials, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
They have good drivers in it, so
yeah.
they know the races. Yeah, you can see on the front of the peloton, they're not riding that fast in the moment. So we have a good main group with Max van Heeswijk.
So
he's in good shape. He did the Tour of Spain, and
yes, he was. And towards it, he got. Who was it? He was second in the sprint.
He was second
Madrid?
in Madrid.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there we are. The punctured victims are now going to work their way back into group, and it'll be a nice little ride for the peloton at the moment. We have a breakaway down the road, and the lead is approaching just over 1 minute. This leading group of riders, the last time check we had coming through the finish area, they were at 40 seconds. The lead is beginning to trickle away because the main bunch seem to have sat up and not taking this break too seriously, and we'll just wait and see if it does settle down and cause a bit of problem. It's certainly the Belgians quite happy here to have got a couple of riders in. Wilfried Peters is number 81, Nico Matten is number 79, and they are here together with the Dutch rider Van Heeswijk. Yes, the 1 minute 30 seconds now. 1 minute 30 seconds. So it is growing, and not so. And as ever, you see, we got the perpetual Italian here, Donati. I'm always amazed at the road championships, that how often the Italians, they seem to get a man in every move that goes through. They just are very, very sharp on watching what's happening and very knowledgeable about who they should really mark out. And now when the Italians, like they did in the under-23s, they got the first, second and third place riders this year. And whilst they're settling down here, just let me take you through very quickly the results of the racing so far in these World Championships, in case you haven't caught up with them back at home, because I know in Great Britain you don't always get the information. So whilst the field is settling down now, that breakaway group of 7 men, a lead of 1 minute and 30 seconds. And those 7 men are Vasseur, Peters, Jarman, Dietz, Van Heeswijk, Matten and Donati. Going back to the start of the proceedings, the junior ladies time trial was won by Trixie Vorok of Germany. Olga Zabelinskaya of Russia was in second spot, and Genevieve Janssen of Canada was in third spot. Britain's Kellis Gilfillan was back in 11th spot to 1 minute 13 seconds adrift. Moving on to the under-23 time trial over the course, 32.8 kilometres in all. That was won by Tor Husrod of Norway, a very big, strong, powerful man, has already won the Paris Tour and the Paris-Roubaix for the under-23s. He rocketed around the course and came through to win that ahead of Frederic Fino of France, who took the bronze medal, and Giacomo Ottenzi from Italy, who was in third spot. Good ride too by David George, the South African, who got a bronze medal last year. He finished in fourth spot this time, just a bit out the medals. Moving on then to the next of the time trials, the junior men's race. That was run by the Swiss rider Fabian Cancellara, and in second spot Torsten Heichmann of Germany. Third was the Italian Italy yet again getting a medal, Filippo Pozzato. The time trial for women, elite women, won convincingly very much indeed by Leontan Ziad van Morsel. She was ahead of Zapravova of Russia, with Hanka Kupfernagel of Germany into third spot. Britain's Yvonne McGregor finished 11th on that day. And moving on now to the next time trials, the elite men. A disappointing ride by Chris Boardman, finished 11th spot that day. He was 1 minute 50 seconds down. He said he lost around about 50 seconds. He had a puncture and he would have been up there about a minute adrift of the winner, which would have put him around about 5th spot, I suppose, 5th or 6th spot. But he didn't get himself in the medal list, because that was won the gold by Avram Milano for the 43.5 kilometres. He went round in 54 minutes and 32 seconds. Tremendous ride. It was around about nearly 30 miles an hour, by the way, was his average speed for the 43.5 kilometres. In second spot was Mauri Prat, also of Spain, so the Spanish had first and second spot in the elite time trial. And Sergei Gonchar of the Ukraine took a third place medal. He was the man who finished second last year, and the man who was not riding this time, the defending champion Laurent Jalabert, decided not to take part. He was both mentally and physically pushed by it all this year, and just felt that he'd run out of steam, and he decided not to defend his championship. So that was the result of the elite men's time trial. Moving on to the under-23 road race, I said to you just a moment or so ago, the Italians dominated that one. Ivan Basso coming into first spot, Noncentini into second spot, and Di Luca into third. And the way Di Luca got the third medal was unbelievable. He came past everybody from about 8th back to third, like he'd been shot from a bullet from a gun. But that was the Italian clean sweep of the under-23, first, second and third. The junior women's road race won by Tina Leibig of Germany. Zabinskaya of Russia had another second place then, and Natalie Bates of Australia finished third. They was the medals, and just behind in fourth spot in that race, Sada Callaghan of Australia. So they were well represented, Australia. They certainly got a bronze in the shape of Natalie Bates. On to the junior men's race. We've already interviewed today on Eurosport Mark Scanlon, the man who won the junior men's race yesterday. A beautiful sprint, got him just ahead of Pozzato of Italy. So again, the Italians getting themselves a medal, silver one this time. And Kivichev of Russia taking the bronze medal into third spot. The women's road race, elite road race yesterday, Diana Zaluti came from the pack for a superbly well-timed sprint, as she did when she was riding the race on September the 13th, the World Cup race in Holland. She burst out the pack then, obviously reveling in the wet conditions. She got the gold medal just ahead of Leontan Ziad van Morsel, and Hanka Kupfernagel was in third spot. The reigning world champion, Capoletto, was back in fifth spot, and Jenny Longo finished in ninth, just 1 second off the pace. So those were the results then of the racing so far in the World Championships. And I've got with me Jean-Paul van Poppel, who is the team coach for the women's section of the Dutch Federation, and he's watching this with very great interest. I see that the Danish team have now started to get on the front, so Sorensen has got back, worked his way through, and they're chasing after a breakaway group of riders. Those riders you just saw go over the top now, 1 minute and 27 seconds ahead. Vasseur of France, Peters of Belgium, Jarman of Switzerland, Dietz of Germany, Van Heijswijk from the Netherlands, Matum from Belgium, and Donati from Italy. Well, this is typical territory again for the Danes, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, 130 with a group of these riders in the front. We see good riders like Wilfried Peters. He get third in the Paris-Roubaix, where he's always good. He's one of the best men in the race, and he's always riding for his cupman.
And of course, around here, Ralph Jarman, he's got twice winner of the Amstel Gold, eh?
Yeah. So there's not a group of just lost riders. This is a very good group. I don't think they can be standful until the final, but anyway, 130, 127, I think the last gap was, and the Danish riders are taking the lead of the bunch. And the Dutch doing good work.
Oh, a bit of a problem back here, as it looks like there's been a rear wheel puncture, and he's going to quickly change over. That's odd. Why didn't he take his bike? Perhaps his bike doesn't fit.
No.
And so that's the.
I don't understand. Normally, it's not allowed to take wheels from. No, maybe with professionals, but actually not at the man and not the woman. You're not allowed to take some material from your team mates, because it's an individual race. So it's not that fast, because the mechanic has to change his bike again, and I don't think it's that.
It's very strange, isn't it?
Now he can't help him to come back.
Yeah, so what you say, the better thing to do was to go straight on the side, and then when the mechanic comes up, change the wheel, and the two of you go down the road together.
Yeah, you have to wait in the back of the peloton till the car. You take you raise your hand and you wait till the car is there from your team, and then you can change. Somebody stays with you and can bring you back easily. It was not a good thing to do what they did.
I suppose sometimes, though, that if you're a fairly youngish professional, if you look at the Swiss team, they've got a full complement here of what, about 12 riders, isn't it? So there might be 1 or 2 lads in there who are qualified to ride, but in the moment of excitement like this, you probably do stupid things without thinking about it, because you're so wrapped up in it. Because World Champions always seem to me, Jean-Paul, to even at this level, that the day you come out to the start line, you're here with all the signs and all the grandstands, all the television cameras. It must be a very different feeling from just any other, say, even the Amstel Gold Race, eh? To be at the World Championships.
Yeah. Well, it's like oh yeah, they're talking now. What are they doing? Donati's not want to work. He's not the favorite for this race, and they want to try him to get him in the front, but he's not allowed to do it from his team.
So Denmark still chasing to fetch back that breakaway group.
So 130, 127 last gap. Rolf Sørensen, I think that's the man what they're riding for today. He's in a good shape. Won the Tour of Holland.
He's been around some years now, hasn't he, Rolf? And he seems a very experienced and strategic rider. I've watched him riding in the Tour of Spain too, and he just seems to be able to know where to put himself, because certain riders, Jean-Paul, they can read a race, can't they? I mean, the way that Bunyo, we're going to miss him in some respect. I've always admired the way he can read a race and know when to move and when not to move. Is it something you're born with, or do you spend time in there learning this process? Because another man I admire too is when Stephen Roche would be working with me, he would say something, because I feel I was talking to now, they said that tactically they never knew why, but you'd find Stephen Roche in the bunch 1 minute, next minute he's down the road with the brake that went down the road was the real one that moved. So anyway, obviously some riders have a better understanding of the form of the race as it goes than others of them. You can see how strong the wind is blowing now. The bunch are sitting up a bit. We've still got those riders down the road, some 7 men. The gap is growing. It was around about 1 minute 30 seconds. The gap is now 1 minute and 35 seconds as we're going to take a break. So stay with us on Eurosport to see if that group gets caught back coming towards the end of this lap. The riders now coming up the top of the Coburg climb, coming towards the end of lap 8. That breakaway group of riders, the maximum lead they had just over 1.5 minutes. You can see him on your screen now. And the back there, the Belgian doesn't seem too happy. In fact, the whole thing seems to be very disruptive at the moment. And goodness knows what the hell they're jumping around like this for. But Donati of Italy doesn't want to take part in the race at all. So the rest of the riders, Cedric Vasseur from France, together with Wilfried Peters and Nico Matten of Belgium, Rolf Jarman from Switzerland, and Dietz from Germany, and Van Heijswijk from the Netherlands, trying to sort their differences out as the main group come round here, and the gap is coming down all the time. So I may catch them just a moment. Talk about catching, Russell Williams has come back up to our commentary point. Russell, I think you've got some news from the pits. What's going on down there?
Yeah, funny enough, you just mentioned Wilfried Peters. I was down there and I bumped into Johan Mazeo, and I just said to Johan, you know, who's your favourite for today? And he was sort of umming and ahhing, trying to say Chamil, but in the end he said Bartley. But also, while I was down there, I saw Roger Hammond. He came into the pits, and I tell you what, it's very, very grim in there. There's dirt everywhere, but the trouble was is Roger stopped, but remember, he's just come back from the Commonwealth Games 2 weeks ago. But what he's been doing is, for the last 2 weeks with Magnus Baxter, he's been, every other day, he's been running a Commerce course and also going out on the road. So every other day, he's doing 135 miles, can you imagine it, every other day for the last 2 weeks. He only stopped that about 4 days ago. So what I think's happened is he's come into the race, but he's overtrained. So he was really upset about things. But like I said to him, c'est la vie, that's life, and you just got to get on with it.
Well, Roger's not been used, though, has he, to riding the very great long races. He's only just turned into the pro scene with Palmer. He had a couple of years over here now, and a man who's really come up from being a junior world cyclo-cross champion. For Roger, it's a new battle. He didn't come into this level of racing from being a pro road rider who used to long miles. He sort of found his way in, and he also didn't he go and do all his studies at school and things before he decided finally to take the plunge.
Well, the thing is, he's the perfect professional. He went to school first, then went on to university, got all his studies, and he's done the perfect thing, what I believe, is gone to Belgium. He's got a good contract with the Belgium team, and also the thing is, this year he's ridden over 100 races, and he's been doing a lot of travelling, but also the team he's in, he's not the top man, he's just a domestic, so he has to work hard. But the thing is he's come to the World Championships. The reason why he's come is because, like John Heritage said, he's got selected on UCI points. It's all very well the riders back home saying, oh, Roger Hammond's only done 2 or 3 laps, but he's been out there, he's got the UCI points, he got selected. Good luck to him. He's a classy rider, and if you remember rightly, like you said, he has been an ex-world champion.
Well, that's it. So thanks to that for Russell, who will be coming backwards and forwards with bits of information down there from the pits where one by one riders are going to retire. There, Jarman from the Swiss team in this breakaway group at the moment, and they'll be coming through at the end of this 8th lap of the race, and they don't seem, Jean-Paul, to be too, they're not driving hard, are they? There seems to be a bit of doubt in that bunch there. What the hell are they doing?
Yeah, that's what I said before. It's not a group of losing riders, very good riders in the front, and they choose. They have 1 minute and a half. We shall see in a few moments, and I think they want to ride in front and want to ride in the front for a long time, so they don't go a block directly. So not 100%. They wait a few laps and then. They look what's happened, and then maybe they go for 100%. We have to watch them. Here, Max van Heeswijk is one of the better riders in Holland, but he's not our favorite for today. He's just controlling the race, and is not riding 100%.
Yeah, sorry, Jean-Paul, I'd just like to ask you say about the Dutchman there, Max, but if it comes to a sprint finish, he's got a tremendous finish, though.
Oh, yeah, I believe he's the fastest of all, because Max is extremely good sprinter. He can do everything. He can go uphill, he can do everything, but sometimes Max is not a real bike rider. He's like, he likes a life, you know what I mean? He's always on the way and not riding or doing his job 100% as a professional rider. Well, he did the Tour of Spain, so he had a good preparation for this race. So I think he's in a good mood to finish this race very, very, very well.
So that's why he's up and down, because he likes the good life as well. Because I've watched him over the years. He's had some cracking performances. Then he disappears for maybe 3 or 4 months. You hardly see him. Then he comes back and does another one. And he seemed to be a lot of, is it natural talent that he's got?
Yeah, he had unbelievable natural talent, but he's not a trainer. He's not going for 6, 7, 8 hours on the road. He's doing 1, 2 hours, and yeah, he believes it. So they have to take him to the races so that he has to race, and then you get him in a good form. Like last year, he did the Tour of Spain in the last stage. He won the last stage. This year, he was second in the last stage. Yeah, he's getting better after the races.
Well, that's the life of a professional roadman. A very tough one it is too, and some people, I suppose, that when it comes naturally to begin with, there's a less effort to put into it. But as you get older, though, you have to work a lot harder, and then you realise too that there's a lot more to be gained than just going out and enjoying yourself. And I suppose that we shouldn't remark about that, but the way that Mr. Cipollini has both a hard life and a soft life too, just shows you can do. 1:53 has got on the gap there, and the group coming through behind. And so here they are with the Danes still doing a lot of work at the front, but it's 2 minutes and 5 seconds at the end of that lap. There's 7 laps to go in the race of a lap over 15 laps in all, so we're through the halfway point in this championship as the chase group begin to try and close down that gap.
Well, the Dutch do a good job. Here's Koos Moerenhout. He's controlling the race. It's a group of 5, I think, there behind, and he's just controlling the race behind them. They do an excellent job this moment. feeding some warm tea. Oh,
John Paul, this, perhaps I shouldn't be naughty about this, say wrong thing, but struck me the pits here on a very fast and a downhill section.
Yeah, exactly.
And with so many people trying to hand up food, because you can't run with it or swing your arm with it, that we've seen all the way through this week a lot of bottles being dropped because there isn't room to move, eh?
Yeah,
difficult, isn't it?
And they have too much speed. On the backside, on the Bemelenberg above there's a second place to catch some bottles and stuff and material stuff. That's a better place to catch some bottles. But it's cold. Your hands are not that fluent anymore, though, so it's very difficult to catch a bittern with that speed they're riding here.
Yeah.
And the soigneurs moving up on the road. I hate it.
Yeah.
Like you said, they have to stand there and not farther, but they go moving up the road, so they take the half of the road and get more difficult for people.
It's amazing because like on the Tour de France, one of the big tours, there's nearly about a kilometre from front to back when you go through a feed zone, and the great gaps between them so they can do their job. And here it's been compressed, hasn't it? And we've got 153 riders, and all the team helpers are so compacted into a very small area. It makes it very difficult indeed. I presume there's obviously very good reasons for it. There isn't a lot of space to do it. It's just caught on the downhill here, and when they're trying to plan a road championships, you can't always have everything ideal, but I felt very sorry for so many riders right up to today where they've missed their drink bottles because of the problems going through. And we had 1 or 2 crashes as well. Yeah,
normally, like in the Tour de France, it's much longer, exactly, and so the riders go not only on the left side, but they go also on the right side, and when they see the soigneur, they move over to the left side and catch their bittern or their bag. But it's cold. You have to eat well. You know, you forgot this time. You don't need the drinks that much, but you need a drink. But it's cold. You're not thinking about drinking in this time, but you have to force yourself to drink and eat so that you're not getting in problems after a few hours. If you feel hungry, it's too late for you. Your body is empty and you can't recover again. So you have to remember yourself to eat. And push yourself, because you're not real hungry. You have no time to eat.
Yes, the difficult thing is you have to force down food when you don't want to eat it, and that's where I suppose drinking, you can actually eat and then swill down some of the food with it. If you drop your bottle and there's not much chance of getting another one to go half around the circuit, it must be very difficult. Fortunately, by the way, now it looks like it's drying out, so although the conditions are still very cold in the wind, let's hope we don't get any more rain on this circuit, which has been full of crashes in the earlier races. But it just shows the difference between these elite and professional riders. With a big field up here, I've not seen. We had one little crash in the going through the feed zone, but compared with the other races where they were falling off all over the place, this just shows you how, just by the competition, the way in which they ride the big races, the way in which they learn to handle their bicycles, that we have less crashes at this level. Of course, we do in the big tour, like Tour de France early on, we're a bit nervous, had 1 or 2 of the teams come down, 1 or 2 of the riders come down, but here it's most noticeable in this race on Sunday compared with the races we've had in the previous couple of days, that the riders here just seem to know where to go. They seem to be able to hold the bikes and smoothly. I did notice too, Jean-Paul on that Coburg climb, how they come round. There seems to be a different way in which the pros take their bikes round the bend, isn't it?
Yeah, they take it more smooth, but yeah, it's a race. They're professionals in the first place, so they know how to do this. And but the other hand is it's 256 kilometers, I think. So it's a long way to go, and they're not in a hurry like the other race, like the Neos. The race is much shorter. Like the junior race is 136, I think, 135. Anyway, it's much shorter. They're younger. They're aggressive, more aggressive from the start on, like young dogs. We saw them yesterday morning.
They did, didn't they? Went for the goodness. Yes, they were very good. They had a very good race again. But the Danes going back on the front. In fact, virtually all the complete Danish teams seem to push themselves on the front here. Although their interest is in Sorensen. I thought that Sorensen is probably a man who wanted to come down to a sprint finish, so they might try and burn 1 or 2 chaps off. But the pace at the moment, not too aggressive, but just controlling that breakaway group of some 7 riders down the road. Well, the field beginning to string itself out a bit on this lap of the Men's Pro Championship. Still the Danes on the front working hard. The gap last time check we got was 1 minute and 20 seconds to the lead group.
Yeah, the Danish riders, they put themselves on front, and they take the weight of the race now in that moment. Why? I don't know. Rolf Sørensen, they have Rolf Sørensen with them. I think he's in a good condition. So, and Bo Hamburg. I didn't follow Bo Hamburg the last times. Maybe you know something about him last tours he did.
Well, Bo, of course, he's always like he's won stage in the Tour de France, and last year he was third in the World Championship. Let me check on that one. Second last year. Got second place last year, which I want to say was a surprise. He's quite capable of popping out and doing a ride every so often, and you never know with Bo what he's going to do. But obviously the Danes have decided they with the second place man from last year, the authority is on them to do something about it, and there they go. But I think they've got two cards to play there with Bo Hamburger and Sørensen. And some very skilled riders in there too, because Jesper Skibby, what Jesper doesn't know about riding at this sort of level, I think isn't worth knowing anyway. So they've got a good group of riders in there. People like Brian Holm, he's been around a long time too, so that they certainly must know what they're doing. But it doesn't seem that they're going quite full bore at them and just controlling this little group down the road there, just making sure it doesn't get much more than about a minute and 20 seconds. But at some point, if somebody's going to try and pull it back, they've just got to ride that bit harder.
Yeah, the gap still getting bigger and bigger on this moment. And this group is not real, what you told me before, not the riding 100%.
They're on the tops, aren't they? But there's some good talent in there.
Yeah.
Donati again, tail end Charlie, just sitting there.
Stays in the last wheel. That's what I told him to do.
Yeah, stay there. Yeah, stay there. I was impressed. It seems to me, John Paul, that when the Italians come to ride at the World Championship level, irrespective of the fact they ride for different pro teams, they're very good at riding as a compact team, almost like a Italian pro team, Pro Italia, like just they come in, they've all been brought, I suppose, schooled up in this particular riding for their country, and he'll go down the road, he does exactly what he's told. There seems to be no, I won't say individual thinking about what you can do, but the Italians seem to have done this, a number of years, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why they're so strong. They're so proud to ride for the country, and we see that for many years. I think always the Italian team is one team, and they have no regulation with teammates from other countries on the worlds. A bit strange, of course. You all year riding with a team where some French and Italian and Dutch, and then one race in the year, you have to split that in your head, you know. Like today is for the Dutch. And it's a hard job for the coach to bring the riders so close together. I think, the Italians have that in the breast. Yeah, they have a good that in the heart to ride for the country.
How difficult is it when you're riding for your country, say like once a year you don your nation's vest, to look around? Because when you're riding with the pro team, you always, at the corner of your eye, you can see the pro jersey, which you know very well. And you come to this level, you're riding for a different team, and suddenly you come to this level, it must be a complete new thought process next morning, mustn't it? When you suddenly see the jersey, you think, I'm riding with him, and I'm riding with him today, eh?
Yeah, it's strange. But anyway, I think you must be proud. I had it for myself the same. The time you ride for your country, you have to ride for your country. You can't have any things with your teammates on that moment. But I think it's hard in the final if you have no chance anymore and you can ride for a teammate who's not your country, is not from your country. Then, yeah, that's some things you have to think about it.
What was your best place in the world then, John Paul?
No idea. Not that sure. No.
Your job was to bring back the brakes, was it?
Yeah. Most of the time, because the courses are so hard that it was never a sprint. No, never. I can't remember.
I think the one that I remember being that was a flattened sprint one was the one when I think when Ottenbros won that one. That was Zandvoort. That was pretty flat, wasn't it? But that was before your time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was maybe 5 years ago.
Well before your time. Looking ahead to the it's down to 45 seconds now, so the Danes have really pulled this one back. It's 45 seconds. Looking forward to the World Championship next year. I've seen the handout from the people for NATO, and it's showing us the course. I don't know if you've seen it, but I presume at some point you'll be going down to look at it, will you? But I was rather surprised when I saw it. They've got this, the road race course. Obviously, the time trial course is slightly separate, and the road race course is round Veneto itself. But on the profile of it, when I saw it, it seems there's only a bit of a small drag in the centre of the thing, and strikes me it might be one of those when the sprinters are going to be more with a bit of a shout, because it's a long run down. I mean, compared with this one where the Coburg climb is very close to the finish, and that has shattered a few hopes that perhaps it might go back to a course that is more towards the sprinters, because we haven't had what I call a true out-and-out sprinters road championship course for some time now.
Yeah, I can't believe this schedule. Normally the Italian, it's not a real race for the Italian, because they like it hard.
I was surprised when I saw it. I thought, Pantani will be going on holiday well before October at this rate, eh?
Yeah, he takes a holiday then.
Yeah, it's not his sort of course anyway. So anyway, it's that's next year. We'll be there. And what happens? Do you have to go down in your position as a coach of the ladies' team? Do you go down and see the course, or does just somebody else go down and come back and give the information? Who organises everything from now on in? Now that it's said this is where that's when it's going to happen. Are you going down there to have a look at it, or just rely on you all go down?
Yeah, we go all down. So the coach of the professionals, the Neos, and myself, we go there in the winter time and bring our bikes, of course, and ride some laps, so we can see what kind of riders we need there, because it's cycling. It's the court. We have to make a selection of riders who are good on this circuit, and so we have to see the court by ourselves.
And then what about the arrangements for regards the hotels and so on? Because it strikes me that I think this time we're in two different places too, and I don't quite know how far apart they are. But they're in Treviso for the time trial course, and then we go to Veneto for the road course. And I don't know quite how close these are together, but there's going to be a problem. Either put a hotel in between the two, or moving one hotel to another. But it does seem to me we've got a slightly different system next year when we go and ride the roads down there. But there is a need to get the sort of hotels you want, and again, presumably, are you involved in that, or does somebody else go down and do the hotel arrangements?
I have no idea at this moment. This year it was all arranged, of course, because it's in Holland. Normally I think we have to arrange something for ourselves. So we're gonna look there and which place we can stay at the time trial court, or maybe we change
to the road
halfway.
Court. Yeah. And the course next year, I think we probably, let's hope, fingers crossed, have slightly better weather, but even so in that part of Italy it can be a bit cold and wet this time of year too, can't it? Yeah.
Less cold, I hope.
Well, still the Danes leading the chase here after our breakaway group from the Netherlands. Max van Heijswijk led them over the line at the end of that lap 8. The average speed was 42.058 kilometers per hour, and the time for the lap was 24:32. The overall average at the moment 41.987 kilometers per hour. They've been racing at that point for 3 hours and 16 minutes and 37 seconds. The clock above the gantry on the start-finish line showing they've been racing now for 3 hours and 33 minutes. That was the time 3:16 as they came across at the end of the 8th lap. Breakaway group then, as we can see now on your screen, that's Vassor number 12, then that's the Italian Donati, then that's the Swiss rider Yaman, and we quickly flick the way through up towards the front where we've got the one or two bells, and that's Nico Matten on the front there, and Peter's his teammate just a bit further back, and wedged in between in the orange colours of Holland, that's Max van Heijswijk. So the gap coming down all the time, and before long the chase crew will be able to see them. Just looking back at the laps that we've had so far, and it's always been the state of pro racing is fascinating on the lap times we've got here. We've been actually racing now 8 laps in all, and so only about 100 metres. Looks like they're going to get caught now, this little group. But I've always been fascinated with the pro racing, how the average speed increases. And every lap, by the way, it's almost unique. Every lap here has gone faster all the way through. We started out as an average speed on the first lap at 38.387 kilometres per hour. It then went to 39.183. Then we went up to 40. 41.497. We then went to 40.858, then 41.157. Then 41.613, then 41.977, then 41.98. Every lap of the 8th has gone a bit faster than the one before. This is fairly typical stuff, whereas in the old days, the amateur race, there used to be the reverse. You used to go faster to start with and go gradually slower then. But this is typical of the pro scene. They begin to go quicker and quicker as they're now out there, and they'll be coming through at the end of this one to complete their 9th lap of 15 laps in this Road Championships. Well, after doing most of the work in pulling back that little breakaway group that we had, which launched itself out a couple of laps ago on the Coburg climb on lap 7, we came through at the end of lap 8. The gap was coming down. It was 1 minute 30, and now as we come up the time up the Coburg, they've actually been caught before we got to this particular point. So now we've got a launch pad of first a Danish rider, and then another one going after him as well. So we're getting to what I might call the interesting part of the course. As yet again, I'm surprised to see the Danes quite going so hard on the front, because they've done so much work to catch back. But the Belgians launching yet another man off down the road. Let's wait till this thing settles down for you. It does seem to me, actually, John Paul, that this particular climb, you get 1 or 2 people full of enthusiasm to start off, and then it all seems to change. By the time we got to the top, some more come through. It's like a two-speed climb, isn't it?
Yeah, they're getting more and more in problems. Some riders have riding on the flat, so like the Danish riders, we shall see them real coming up to the back now.
Zanini, by the way, has just, I think, got a puncture of his back wheel. That's a nasty place to have it, because he's got him on the climb here. It's probably one of the worst places to have a problem. And Matin's gone again. He's just been caught from that group, and Nico Matin's going off again now.
Looks to me like Dirksen's, yeah. He did a good Tour of Spain, and he's in a good form. And this is speciality, riding alone, solo.
That's interesting. They said Nico Matin on my headphones, so that's odd. So it's Dirksen, isn't it? Because he's just won. Yes, though they said it's 79 on in the front. That's 78, so the race radio is getting it wrong. Or we got 2 down the road. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
No, the race radio is wrong. It's 78, not 79. Sorry about that, viewers back at home, but I was listening to race radio, because we can either listen to radio and make notes and sometimes look up there, and they gave me 79, and that was Nico Matin, but in fact it's...
we saw him doing this in the Tour of Spain a few times.
All the time, yeah.
Riding by himself.
He's amazing, but I think we looked at his record sometime. He's 34 years of age, and looking at what he's been getting in the past, he's been in many of these, what do you call them, kermesses or criteriums, these sort of races.
Yeah, we call them kermes races. So there's he from the Palmers team. He's racing all 80 kermes races a year. So, but he was so strong last year in the championship of Belgium. What Tom Stilzer was winning, actually. He was maybe the strongest man in the race. So they picked him up at the Lotto team, and well, he's a little bit older now. I think it's.
I think he's 34. This.
Yeah.
I'll just get him up. Hang on, I'll give you the age. Russell, pick out for you what he's done recently, because it's all written down there, and there's some unpronounceable names in Belgium and Holland, Jan Paul. I just don't quite be able to pick up very easily. But Dirksen, I'll get his exact. I think he's got his birthday coming up in October. He's on the 14th of October, 1964. He's going to be 34 years of age, and we look down at all his successes have been in these unpronounceable races in Belgium and Holland.
It's a pity he didn't get over in a big team before. But it's a strong rider, unbelievable strong. But 34, it's a shame that he's just a professional in a good team for this year, first time.
And I'm just going to dig back into my records. I'm pretty certain I was at the Paris Bourges or something. He's just done a really good ride about a week ago. He came out of the Tour of Spain with some tremendous form, as many of them do. Oh, we've got 10 riders now coming through, so we're going to get...
We have 2 Dutch in the front. That's
yeah, very happy.
Sure.
Stop jumping
Leon
up and
van
down.
Bommel, and I think it's Tristan Hoffman in the front. 6 laps to go.
This is getting interesting, and John-Paul Van Poppel is getting very excited now to see the Dutch jersey going through here. And of course, all the people around the course, majority of them are from Holland, and we'll pick him up as they go through here now. And the gap really has started. Yes, Russell, you're jumping up and down for something. Go on, Russ.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Jean-Paul about Leo van Bon. Isn't he one of the favourites for the Dutch team today?
Yeah, of course, he's one of the favourites, but we don't put the pressure on him. We put the pressure on Boga because when it's a hard race, he's our favourite because he's the best climber. But Van Bon, he was second last year, and for sure he's one of our favourites. This is a group I don't recognise so many people. They're also dirty and wearing different jerseys at this moment. I think Tristan Hoffman, for sure, he's with him.
I'll get them for you then. Yep.
Okay, we're back.
Here they come. They got the... Well, we've got the breakaway group for you now, and written down furiously. We'll just read them out to you as the rest of the field string through the pits area. The number 28 in that breakaway group, Tristan Hoffman from the Netherlands. In there too from the Netherlands is Leon van Bon, number 33. Number 38 in the breakaway group, Udo Bolts from Germany. That sounds like a good break so far to me. Number 46 is this new young lad, Jan Schraff. That's S-C-H-A-F-F-R-A-T-H, Jan Schraff in the breakaway group as well. In there from Germany, Torsten Schmitz, who I think had that puncture problem. The field went back for him a bit earlier on. Then in number 62, Oscar Kamazin, who's been jumping around quite a bit. He's in that breakaway group too, together with Mario Arts of Belgium, number 77. Number 79 from Belgium, Nico Matten, who started it all on the drag up the climb, tried to go up to Luda Dirksen. Dirksen then, having also launched a phenomenal attack. We got number 94 in that breakaway group, and that is Paola Bettini of Italy. And number 100 in the group is from the US of A. In fact, my mistake, his name's Rebellin, Davide Rebellin of Italy. So the Italians putting two men in there, Bettini and Davide Rebellin in that group. They really look determined. Now, we've seen so many attacks going on in the past. This is what the third of the sizable little groups we've had going down the road, and I get the impression now they're really starting the motor of this one. Everyone's coming through and doing it. So let's see if they all stay in there and work this one. Looks like a very useful move. Having just come through the ninth lap of the race, I'll give you the average speed and the breakdown of that in just a moment. But it looks like we've got, I don't know, they've just, Skibby's name's come up here. He's just gone through. Just put it up for my I think he's off the back actually, yes, for Skibby. One of the Danish riders did have a problem. It might be Jesper. The Italians looking back again, although they've got two riders here. I'm just concerned as to whether they decide to drive on with it, or they're going to do the usual thing, Jean-Paul, and sit on the back, eh?
Yeah, they stay on the back. I think they have two guys to ride for. That's Andrea Staffi and Miguel Bartoli. We saw that with the Neos, same race. They have two good riders in the front, but they wait on the man who are in the before the race. They decide to put somebody else in the front, so they wait for him, and that's what they do with the professionals the same now. You can see they're not riding for the 100%.
So 17 seconds at the moment, so it's not very much breaking this one up, and one or two riders drifting through the start-finish point. I think they've had it now. So just only 17 seconds. It's not very much at all.
Yeah,
oh, there's been a crash.
Talking and talking.
There's a crash at the moment as well in the back chasing group. Oh, Bartoli crashed. Wow. So Bartoli's come down, and that's going to cause a lot of trouble. So who's this driving on the front? Is it Belgians having a go?
Belgians, French.
Oh, French. Oh, right. Just through the murkiness of the blue, because the darkish blue of the Belgians, this is the light blue of the French, isn't it? Well, I must say, ladies and gentlemen, back at home, if you've just switched on to watch this race, we've been going since 10 o'clock this morning. They've been racing for 3 hours and 40 minutes, and the field, as you can see, they look like they've come up from a coal mine almost. The muck and grit that's flying up on this course, and it's been chucked up off the wheels, and they've been going in towards the pits, looking like they've had a hard day down the mines. Russell?
Yeah, I was just going to ask Jean-Paul about Udo Boltz. He was 4th last year in the World Championships. He's had 2 good wins this year. He's a senior man. He knows how to race. He must be one of the favourites, surely.
Yeah, he's one of the favourites for sure. But I think he's not the real winner for World Championships. He's going to be doing a very good race for sure. He's going to be short, but I don't believe he's going to win this race.
Also, Jean-Paul, we see here Bartoli. He's had a crash. Now, 2 riders have dropped back. Now 3. Do you think the whole team will come back? How many Italians will come back?
No, he's between the cars now. That's enough. He's back.
Well, there we are then. Bartoli looks like he'll get back in the main group. Bit of panic in the Italian camp, but they soon got themselves going back in the bunch. We're looking at the Italians working their way through the back end of the field. There's been a bit of a split in the peloton, and up the front Dirksen has done another heroic move, but all the eyes are on the Italian team trying to get back through that split, and particularly while we've been on the advertisement, we've seen Bartoli there looks in some sort of trouble again, Jean-Paul.
Yeah, troubles all the way. He was changing two times his bike. I don't know exactly what's happened over there, and now he's crashed. Doesn't look good for him today. Doesn't have luck till so far. And there's Ludo Dirksen again in the attack.
We're going to watch then and look back at Bartoli in the problems that happened whilst we went to that break. Let's see this. And there he is then. He's had that bike change yet again. He's trying to get his foot sorted out, get the covers over his feet, because he's still very wet and miserable out there. And you can see all down the side of his shorts where he's fallen off and gone into the grass and looks very mucky indeed. Going back up to our leader, this hard man Dirksen, concentrating on his face. You can see this. What a tremendous opportunity for this rider who spent all those years, I'll say, grovelling around in the comesses for the lowly Belgian team. He's been going like that in the sunshine of Spain. He was going out there time after time. I thought he's just going to get a stage victory, and they'd haul him back to about 5 kilometres. Then he'd go again. I remember one of the stages he went away with about 3 or 4 chaps, and they just wouldn't work, and so he went down the road again on his own. He had determination written all over him. He's come out of the Tour of Spain with a nice suntan, I expect, and also feeling very keen about this race, and he's been on the front now. He's gone away on his own. There is a split in the field. This is Moto 3, because this is the second part of the main peloton, and this is now the Italian train on the front, and a lot of people I think are going to be rather happy that the Italians have got on the front, and the front group now starting to rocket away and make the Italians' life very difficult indeed. This is not going to be easy for the Italians, because chasing down that split in that group, it's going to tire them out. They've got to look after Bartoli, but Jean-Paul, there's been, I thought, in reading in the press, there's a certain amount of discussion, I suppose is the word, about the team captain, between should it be Bartoli or should it be Taffy, and how we would play this thing down. If this is going to make life very difficult for Bartoli and tire him out and so on, would Taffy become then elected as the top man, or they're just going to have to wait and see right towards the end?
Yeah, I think with Bartoli is mentally much stronger than Taffy, because Taffy is very strong, but he's not the smartest racer. Hey, there's an Italian going on the front of the peloton. That's a bit strange. That could be Taffy, but Bartoli is not back in the bunch. I believe he's still chasing.
He's in the group. There's a chase group. And the gap is about 30 seconds, I think, between the... That's Dirksen at the front now, isn't it?
Yeah, still Dirksen with 20 seconds, but I think it's he's coming back. The bunch is coming back. Let's see.
Hey, well, that's Taffy, surely, isn't it?
Yeah. I believe it's Taffy. Yeah, sure, it's
Looks
Taffy.
like he's romping style to me. He's got a sort of bop the way he rocks his bike. But why is he going down there when Bartoli's... Perhaps he said... he swore then. No, Bartoli, I'll do my own race, eh?
Yeah, typical Taffy. He's not familiar with tactics and anything about this. So he just attacks when he feels well. And there he goes, yeah.
No,
but who's following there? There's a French and German.
One French and all the Germans, yeah. It might be that fellow Schraff. He's been already having a go early on. I think it's Vasseur coming back again.
eh?
I think it's Vasseur and Schraff. We'll just wait and see when we get this one coming up. But there's disarray at the moment because we've got these great gaps all over the place between Dirksens and the Chase. So this is the main bunch, which is slowing down a bit, which will help the Italian train coming from behind. There's a distinct and very clear split in the bunch, and we haven't got the Italians yet coming.
There's Steven de Jong, the Dutch guy, is going Chase.
And Durand.
Jackie
Durand again.
Of course.
He started, because you weren't here at the start. I was still getting up your celebrations with Leontin Zilla van Moorsel, I suppose. When I phoned you last night, it sounded like you were having a good party in the Dutch camp anyway. Yeah. But Jackie went off in the, I don't know, the very first lap or something with about 3 or 4 chaps. I thought this is typical Durand stuff. But of course, he kept himself good for the Paris Tour and came good toward the end. Now then, let's see what we've got here, because I'm pretty sure that's Taffy going through at the moment with the French rider, and that is Vasseur. Yes, I've got him right. It is
Jean Turbin, probably.
Yeah, Taffy's number, which we might be able to just about see through, is 103. So
Vasseur,
is that him?
It's Vasseur, yeah. Vasseur.
That's Vasseur certainly, but I'm trying to. They're 15 seconds behind these three. It is Taffy, and it's voiced. So the German is voiced. Now, he took the King of the Mountains jersey and the Tour de France shirt. He's quite a young lad, but he's strong, isn't he, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the group of Bartoli still chasing.
Yeah, they haven't got it. They haven't made it.
Yeah. And there's Danny Nelissen with them.
Sensible. Sit on the wheels, eh?
Yeah. Stays in the wheel, yeah, why not?
They've got to work, these chaps, haven't they? So that's Bartoli just in front of Nelissen in the orange here. 3 of the Italians then trying to close that gap down. Up in the front, we've got Vogt from the German squad just dropping in behind Taffy's wheel. Vasser's just behind him, and they're going to pick. Now, to me, John Paul, they look to me like what I call these hard men. They're prepared to go all day, aren't they, these 4? Hey?
Yeah.
With this last, do you think they've got the competence, the strength?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Amazing, isn't it?
5 laps to go. No, it must be no problem for Vasseur and for Taffy. And with Dirksen there, he likes the weather, of course. He's a real Kermis racer, and it looks like a real Kermis race in this moment. Bad weather, wind on the head. He likes this.
And, hey, you were a pro bike rider for 11 years. Do you actually enjoy it?
Oh, no way. I like the sun.
They've got it, the tail end.
The back.
But surely they can't stay there, eh?
No, they have to move up. But they wait a moment. But they have to move up just before the Cowberry. Max van Heeswijk on the front from the bunch.
Well, confirmation now that Dirksen has been caught by that chase group. Number 12, Vasseur of France, number 48, Vught of Germany, and number 103, Taffy of Italy. So Dirksen's there. So we've got a Belgian, a Dutchman, sorry, Belgian, Frenchman, a German, and an Italian rider down the road. And really the proverbial has hit the fan, as you can see right now. They're all strung out, every man for himself. And the trouble, of course, for the Italians, having had Bartoli have a crash and change his bike at least twice, they've got to 25 seconds of gap now. They've got to work their way through this lot of riders on a very difficult part of the course. One thing I was concerned about, John Paul, and probably during the early races we had, is how narrow the road is and how as you go off the road, you're really stuck, aren't you, eh?
Yeah. It's just a small part of the small road here.
Looks like riding a cyclocross if you get off the centre, eh?
It's all mud there behind on the circuit. But who's going to ride this and close this gap? That's the question now.
The Italians...
The Dutch have to ride, excellent.
Yeah. The Germans won't ride, they're putting men up the front, aren't they? Yeah.
They have to chair. The Germans...
Here we go.
With the Dutch.
It's an action replay looking back at some reason why... with Bartoli, that he's pointing something out his hand. I don't know quite what he was doing. unless he's saying, go on, boy, I can't take you any further. So the Dutch are back on the front on home soil. They'll have to work hard now, because that breakaway group then just about 25 seconds ahead on the top part of the course. Now what's happening now? He's gone back. That's Dirksen's.
Yeah.
Back. That's
no.
Oh, it's another
Belgian.
Belgian.
Was behind the peloton.
All right.
Probably.
Yeah, the cars.
Oh yeah, Taffy. What's happened with your pedal? Yeah. He's overshoes. He's overschoenen, we call them. Gone. He's getting warm up now, Taffy.
He means business, does he?
Yeah.
I like the character. I know he's a bit unpredictable, but because in the Tour of Langkawi on this show in Malaysia, he went out with the MAPE team, in which they won it in the end quite convincingly with Mr. Clear, and he was in the lead until the penultimate day. We had this thumping great big climb, and he was amazing, and the way he rode, and he's got somewhat of an enthusiasm, hasn't he, about him? He sort of glows when you see Taffy, always bubbling all the time. I in fact got him to sign we had these great big what you call banners almost. They were vertical, but not horizontal, vertical banners advertising the Tour of Langkawi, and I got him to sign it, and it was about 6 foot by about 2'6", and he very happily signed it, and all the MAPE team signed it, and the object, I was going to send it up to the Dave Rayner Fund dinner. They've got a dinner at the Stackis Hotel in Bradford on the 14th of November. The guest of honour is Sean Kelly. He's watching go around here, and hey, this would be Kelly territory, wouldn't it, if he'd be racing still today? The guest of honour is Sean Kelly at the Dave Rayner dinner. Oops,
Taffy.
He's gone. On Taffy, I've got him to sign this big Tour Langkawi poster, and I had all this here. I'm going to send it up there for the auction, because they're going to have an auction later on during the evening at the Dave Rayner dinner, Stackis Hotel, 14th of November. The tickets are £23, by the way, and if you phone Colin Wilcox, and the telephone number 01274 677 190. That's 01274 677 190. It's in the raising money for the Dave Rayner Fund. They send riders off to race in Europe. They support Britain's David Miller, and it's all for a jolly good cause indeed. Stackis Hotel, Bradford, 14th of November. I'll just send my Taffy autographed big poster up there. Might get a few bob for the Dave Rayner Fund. Yes, Ross, sorry, I'm sorry I interfered there. Oh, you want the button press? Okay.
No, I was just going to ask John Paul. Obviously, we see Taffy there, really charging, trying to get rid of the other three. Shouldn't he work with them and try to keep away for the next few laps?
Yeah, that's what he actually has to do. But yeah, that's Taffy. He's not thinking, and he do what his feeling says to do, and that's riding hard, very hard. But we saw Dirksen is a good move, in a good move. He can get in his wheel, and well, when he goes on the foot of the climb, you should think he go by himself, but he can't drop them. And here's the Dutch team. They have to ride 100% now to close the gap. Yeah, and Hofman, he can't follow this tempo. Yeah, the race is now
really warming up.
Yeah, really warming up. Looking for the words.
Yeah, you're doing a great job, Jean-Paul Verpoppel, and for the viewers back at home who just switched on to see the back end of this Big Elite Road race, I will repeat from time to time something. This is Bartoli looking very rough in the centre here. He's nodding his head, and he isn't the calm sort of man we normally see. He's had to really fight his way back in after that crash. He's had to change his bike a couple of times, and they had to chase hard because there was a split that came in two parts of the race, and now when they've got back into the bunch, they've hit the Coburg. That's splitting up as well. It couldn't be a worse occasion. When he finds out this Taffy has got up the road, I think Taffy better move out of this hotel tonight and stay somewhere else, because there will be a few unless of course Taffy gets the gold medal and comes back with the rainbow jersey. They have to swallow hard and say, well, it was the benefit of the country. Now on the left hand side you see here these grandstands and those great blue boxes. Those are the television sets that have been put out there, and this is the first time to my knowledge that we've had in the World Championships, certainly where people pay to go and sit undercover, have the television screens like you're looking back at home, and also they're linked across with the public address system. You see the loudspeakers up there on the various lampposts, so they can hear what's going on from the announcers in the start-finish point. They can sit there in reasonable comfort and watch it on television, and then they can sit there and watch. They pay good money to go. Now, I think it's Lance Armstrong is in this little group too as well.
I think, yeah.
It really is splitting now. Van Bon is in there. There's a nice group of riders coming through. When they come through this start-finish area here this time, this, I think, Jean-Paul Van Poppel, would you agree, the race is on now?
Yeah, the race is on. That's what I say. Normally they wait for 3-4 laps before the end, but now the race is reeling on 6 laps before the end. Five laps to go when they come through here. And a 4 Dutch in the front. That surprised me.
What, you mean you thought they would lessen the work they did, there'd be fewer of them?
Yeah, but it's very good.
Dixon.
And there is always continue.
Vasseur.
They're coming. Now it's time
Armstrong
to ride. Ooh.
Well, Taffy's back in this little group.
Our most important man. Bogert.
But look at the size. Is that a good group? Or are there too many? What would you say?
Yeah, this is a very good group. Michael Bogert is in the front. You see him there on the back. Now the Dutch have to ride, and Michael Bogert has to ride on his reserves. Come on, Dutchies. This is the time.
11 riders in this front group now.
Yeah. Italian tactic is not that good at this moment. Tafi is attacking on a moment that Bartoli had some problems in the back, and well, now 11 riders in the front, just Tafi in front. We know he's strong, but he's not that smart, and the Italian have to chase now.
So in that group that went through, past the number 11 in there, Simon from France. 12 was Vasseur from France. 25 in that group, Bogart from the Netherlands. Number 27, Den Bakker. Number 28, Tristan Hoffman. Number 33, Van Bon. Number 48 in that group then was Jens Vogt. Number 62, Kamazin. Number 78, Duda Dixon. Number 103, Taffy, and number 131, and 121, Lance Armstrong. Well, the lead group we had before, Vogt, Taffy, Vasseur, Dirksen's now got some big hitters joining them, and a lot of Dutchmen in there. But is there too many Dutch? You mean that they might be pulled back by the people behind, because there's a hell of a lot of strength in depth. They're all cold. They go on the front now and drive. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
What should they be doing?
I think they're bluffing a little bit, because when they're riding now with 3-4 Dutch on the front, the rest of the group will say, okay, you're riding, we take our reserves. So they're bluffing a little bit, and look what the other ones. Well, Dirksen always want to ride. There's Vasseur, I think.
No, Simon.
Oh, Simon.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
No, number 9. No, that's there's a change. Obviously, Mannion.
Mannion,
that's right. Now he's a hard man. He's a cyclo-cross man. Everything. He loves these conditions too.
And now, what's Taffy's gonna do? Is he gonna ride with them? That's Van Bon.
They're all over the place. What on earth's happening here?
Where's Michael Bogert? Jens Vogt? They're not really riding together.
Well, Vogt is going to take him back. He looks back over his shoulder. Now this young lad, he says, come on, it's your turn, have a go.
Not quite riding well together.
So you seem to be dissatisfied with Van Bon, and keeps looking back over his shoulder. Goodness knows what's troubling him. Well, it might come back. It's splitting. The chase is coming now. That those men in between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 probably get sucked into the main group. But the lead group, including Dirksen and Mannion, Vasseur, may or may not survive out there. So it looks to me like it could come back. What do you think about this one, Jean-Paul? Is it all over?
I think it's over, yeah. It's one line. just a little gap. And Dirksen's, he loves it. He thinks he's in the Kermis race. There's Tavi again. I think the other Italians hate him on this moment. Let's see what they do when they pass him.
Well, there we are then. They're now all back together again, or more or less all back together again after quite a bit of excitement on that last lap or so of this race. They're now going through on the lap 10 of this 15-lap race in Holland. We're back with the main pack, and it's all gone quiet in the western front now. The Dutch jersey is very prominent on the front. They had, and look at that, looking like Taffy going away again on the outsides of the line. Well, the field is all together, and well, that's all together. I think we're probably no more than about 50%. What's he up to, eh?
What's wrong with him? I like his style.
I do too. It's good for our job, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah, it's a good moment here actually.
Why was that?
There's some corners over here, small roads, and you know, everybody's waiting for this little hill there in the Bemelerberg, and later on the Kouberg. But the champion at Neos, he attacked here actually, a little bit farther. But anyway, just before the Bemeler, it's a good point to take an attack over here.
A very interesting look. Oh, it's gone now. But hello, what's happening back here? He had a few problems.
Yeah.
So and Nico Matton. Yes, he's been pretty lively throughout the race so far.
Talking with the coach Mark Sergeant, who's going to be next year team manager of Mapai, I think.
Is he? Oh.
Well, maybe second man then.
Isn't Mapai merging with ASICS or something? There's some talk, or they're not going to do that after all. We don't know that yet, do we?
Anyway, he's going to do something in
Mark's only champion of Belgium at least once or twice?
Yeah, once, for sure.
Yeah. Used to ride with the old rally operation sometimes, didn't he, Mark Sagan?
Yeah.
I went last night, while they're all together, Jean-Paul and Popple, I went last night to a presentation out at Apen with a book for Peter Post by Fred van Slagteren. It is a lovely book that's been written, and because I was involved in Peter Post becoming a team manager of the TR Rally squad, because I was the one who suggested him, and he said no, he didn't want to be a team manager. Of course, he became probably one of the most successful managers, and then from then a lot of other managers split up. We had a lovely evening last night, and they presented Peter. I haven't had a chance to tell the viewers about this. Hello?
There's Gohan Bartoli.
Yeah. He comes through the field and then starts to go down there. He's going to show Mr. Taffy he's still in the race, eh?
Just before the Bemeler. Yeah. When he starts, just before he starts on.
Anyway, he's off the front ripping away. Just a quick word about last night then, and Peter had this first copy of the book off the press, which I was very happy and very proud to hand over to him in the function at the hotel. And then various other people came up and said nice things about Peter. Jan Nellison, the Belgian commentator, he was there. And then we also had we're just having coffee coming, by the way. We then had the managing director of one of the directors of the rally operation in Holland come along and presented Peter with a new rally bicycle, and it's a special 853 machine. And you know, Peter had never had a rally bike before. He's always dedicated to the team and working hard, and he never helped himself to biking all the time he was there. And then instead he had this bike. He was absolutely knocked out with this lovely, beautiful bicycle, and he still looks very fit, Peter. I think if he wants to go out and ride on it tomorrow, he'll be able to go quite reasonably well. And then the man from Panasonic came along, because also the team went from rally into Panasonic with much of the same sort of setup. And hello, one of the Italians has decided to call it a day. That's not very good for their firepower, as they now dropped Zanini, because he had a problem, didn't he? I think he punctured, right where it came over. I think he punctured the bottom of the Coburg, didn't he? The previous lap. So he's done one lap on his own, couldn't get back, and so that's that. Anyway. The man from the Panasonic also gave Peter a very nice little portable telephone with a clip thing, a special plastic, which you would actually put on the handlebars of the bicycle. So when Peter now rides his rally bike, he can have a Panasonic mobile phone attached to the bike as well. It was a very nice occasion, very pleasant one indeed, and people have got copies of the book there. And when I left, Peter Post was busy signing the books. What I liked about him was that he didn't just sort of sign boss and throw it away. He talked to somebody and write a few words down in it. And I met his wife. She was out. met his brother. He was a family, I think, of about 15 members of the family, like about 10 or 11 boys and the rest for girls, and the majority of them are still alive, and very nice to speak to his brother and one of his sister-in-law, and to his wife too. It was a very, very pleasant gathering last night, and I had great admiration for Peter. I know he ruffled a few feathers from time to time, but he was dedicated to his job, and I think the spill-off since then, because he came in to the management at a time when we'd had a tremendous amount of superb Dutch cyclists. I used to work on the milk race, and I remember when people like Fedor Den Hertog, Jan Rast took the King of the Mountains, then we had Henny Kuiper win the milk race, and so many strong Dutch riders in those days, amateurs. One could see them coming through into the pro ranks, and Peter took over the TR Rally team and based it around the riders from the Netherlands, and were very successful indeed. I rather felt that after a while, once the team sort of began to went to Panasonic, then drifted away, that the Dutch cycling seemed to lose a bit of momentum. It seems to be gathering force again now, and we're seeing here a very good example of the way in which they're trying to keep this race together and really taking the race to the Italians, because normally the Italians are so strong and dominate, but everywhere we look now, Jean-Paul, I see orange shirts, eh?
I don't see many Italians in the front.
No. Well, they had to chase hard, didn't they?
One tried to break the peloton, but not many Italians in the front. See here some Dutch, French, Belgium, and watch Lance Armstrong. Eh? He is the man for today.
I wish I'd gone down the bookies and put a few bob on him. I tipped him from way back, but what if he gets a medal? I mean, he's just outside.
Should be beautiful.
You remember how in the time trial, just to be was it 1 or 2 seconds outside getting that bronze medal? Eh?
Yeah, I feel pity for him.
And the same thing in the Tour of Spain. He finished 4th by just a few seconds from being on the rostrum. He must get one biggie, mustn't he, for the end of the season? Perhaps this is it. Mind you, as Jean-Paul is now quaffing his coffee, let me read and run through some little notes I've got here as they're all virtually complete here, that they're all racing here for the rainbow jersey as the world champion, and everybody wants to get that, whatever level you're racing at, to have the rainbow jersey. But there's often been what is called about the curse of the rainbow jersey, and in recent years there has been more riders who had a bad season after getting the rainbow jersey than a good season. There's an exception to that, of course, for Eddie Merckx. He took the first world champion in 1967, then won the Paris-Roubaix and the Giro d'Italia in the jersey, and he was only 22 at the time. And then he got the second rainbow jersey. He won the Milan-San Remo, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, Flèche-Wallonne, Ghent-Wevelgem, plus Giro d'Italia and Tour de France. And when Merckx took his third world in 8 years, he went on to win the Milan-San Remo, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, Tour of Flanders, Amstel Gold, and so on. But when you think, as we now, the Dutch are attacking here and Jean-Paul's jumping up and down, to go for the jersey, and if you could do what Eddie Merckx did, fine. But Freddie Mertens, who took the rainbow jersey in 1981, didn't win a single race in 1982. His best place was a third in the Kermesse. He never won a major race after that, 1981 when he got the jersey. Stephen Roche, my good friend, 1987, gets the jersey. What happens? Knee trouble, and he wrecks his complete season. He hardly ever starts a race, and the best thing he did was 6th place in the Kellogg's Pro Tour. Luc Leblanc, what happened to Luc? He goes and gets the jersey, and he was 4th that year when he won the jersey in the Tour de France. He gets the jersey, and the following year he only wins a criterium in his hometown. He's got knee trouble, and when he goes in July to pick up his paycheck, the group honours folded. So not only has he got the red curse rainbow jersey knocking his form back, he hasn't got any money either. Rooney Darlens, a great man, unfortunately passed away going to the Flèche-Wallonne this year. He only had one win when he wore the rainbow jersey, and that was, I think, it was a Kermesse. Harm Ottenbros, there was a man. He won the Worlds in 1969 on the Zolder circuit, and he did actually win a Kermesse or something. Nothing after that. So you've got these people who've had all the problems when they've been riding, compared, of course, other people who've had, I mean, Gianni Bugna was one. When he had in 1992 got the jersey. He pulled off 3 Italian one-day wins as well, and he'd go and get the jersey year after that. So many riders have done reasonably well the next year. Cerrone, for instance, he won the Worlds in Goodwood, and then went on to win the Giro d'Italia the following year, plus Milan-San Remo and so on. Bernardino again had a good season, but the worst of all was Jean-Pierre Montserrat, who I remember in Leicester in 1970 at the age of 22. He, having won the Tour of Lombardy in 1921, he got the rainbow jersey, and in next spring he collided with a car in a local race, killed. So I suppose there's as many for as against, but it does seem to me, particularly recent years, that we've had a lot of people wearing the rainbow jersey who've had problems. And what Armstrong was saying, because he got it too, is that you can't race the following year naturally. Everybody wants to come to the World Champion. They want to talk to you. They want your time. If we have difficulty getting through the following season. And the other side of it too is if when you're wearing the rainbow jersey, you do not do the sort of performance they expect of you, and they expect you every race to win. If you don't, you start being attacked by the press. People start asking questions of you. So in some way the rainbow jersey is nice to have, but you've got to be careful. The following year might not be the best of your career, but there you are. Getting it's a great thing. We're just about to drop down into Valkenburg, and as the field was sort of, I'll say meandering on, they're going pretty quick at the top end of the course there. These two riders hopped off the front and have opened up just a few seconds lead on the rest of the pack, and that's number 27, Den Bakker, and number 77, and that's Mario Ertz of Belgium. This is where they went. You can see the field was slowing down a little bit. We had a bit of a problem towards the end of the pack there, where one of the Dutch riders had punctured, and off first went Ertz, and then secondly after went Den Bakker. Good place to go would that be, I would thought, because it's quite narrow road here. The bunch is perhaps easing itself back, ready for the drop down, and then that final, well, that lunge up the corridor. Because when they come to this time, there'll still be 4 laps to go, this 15-lap race, and here we are following down with our camera. I don't think we've seen this shot before. We usually had the shot out the helicopter from the sky, but with just 2 men and a gap opening up, we're allowing the motorcycle to come out. Massive crowd now coming out despite the cold, wet and miserable conditions. We start this morning at 10 o'clock. They've been racing now for nearly 4.5 hours, and the people still hanging out over the barriers, probably a bit damp and miserable, but nevertheless they can pop back into the bars round about them for some sustenance, and you can hear the noise they go round up and up this climb. A tremendous climb. It's seen the Amstel Gold go up here for so many years. The Tour de France has been through here, and there's been 3 times the World Championship that have been held here too. But these two riders are not going to be long on their own. I think we've got a group coming out, and this next group behind looks interesting. And
there's Duffy.
Yep. Where's Armstrong? It's not firing too hard, that chase group, is it?
Yeah. Udo Bolts is chasing.
One of the Kazakhstan riders as well come through the front. They're hard men.
Yeah. There's Miguel Bartoli, maybe, yeah. Hard to recognize.
Yeah. Bartoli's there. And we're at the back, this is a man who punctured, and punctured just the wrong time when his countrymen had nipped off down the road, so the chase is well and truly on. Bartoli looking very powerful at the front here. Strange tactics, though, it seems to be, because he's driving on the front rather than laying back in second or third place. What would you do in his position? Just still trying to go and rip it to pieces? We've still got to come through here, 4 laps to go.
Yeah, try and look what's happened in the back. Just 4 laps.
Look how many Italians, eh?
Yeah. Seems like the Italian not that strong. I think it's the weather and the time of the year is more in. More for the lowlands. So like you can see here.
It's consistently, isn't it? It's been Belgians or Dutchmen.
Dutchmen, yeah.
Yep, yes.
They not really like this weather, but they can stand better the weather when it's cold and rainy.
But you spent most of your time or large racing down in Spain, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't like this this weather here, Belgium and Holland. I never raced a lot in Belgium and Holland. All the time in France or Spain, Italy.
But conversely, some people actually revel in it, don't they?
Oh yeah, Italians are.
Yeah. Disorganising is the way.
Yes.
Yes. They look very rough at the moment.
It's waving. There's Armstrong.
And is that Taffy waving his arms all over the place? Just as
no, they're waving to Taffy, I think. that the time is now to ride for him. Okay.
Well, one of the Spanish riders hammering off down the road too, try and get up to this little group that's forming.
Easy group. 3 Dutch.
Yeah, one of the Italians, but it's not Bartoli. Not Bartoli, no.
Wrong man in the front for them. And who's there?
2 Dutch.
Yeah,
And you've got Dutchman, that's 3
maybe it's
Dutchmen now.
Bogert. Maybe it's Bogert.
You've got a very good collection right there at the moment. That's Bolts who trying to go up on the climbers in that little group. No, I think they get pulled back though, aren't
they pulled back.
Yeah.
Everybody's so fixed out on this the Cowberg, and it's so hard to get away there. So you can get away, but it's a long way up to the finish.
They seemed to have moved this finish further down, and when I came here when Jan Raas was riding, I'm sure we were much nearer to the Coburg, like you came over it and sort of fell off your bike at the finish, but there is a slight descent and it drags in towards here, so it's not the finish we had before. I think probably because there seems to be a lot more houses being built nearer to the top of the Coburg than when I came here before. There seemed to be a lot of space out there when we came, because a long time to remember back to when Jan Raas won, but it was much nearer the town than we got now.
Maybe sometimes they have...
He's there again.
Duffy again. Armstrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think he's worried about the motorbikes, isn't he, Armstrong, putting his hand down there, or because...
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, they're just following the bikes. It's like a motorbike race at the moment, isn't it?
When Duffy's riding, he's riding like a motorbike.
Yeah, there's plenty of bikes here. The camera says they come and get out of the way because they close
he's
the
coming,
gaps.
his motorbike.
Duffy and his 1,000cc legs.
Strong, Duffy. What's happening over here?
So just 10 seconds to lead. They came across the finish line.
You see Koos Moerenhout. He's back in the bunch.
He's got back good. That's good riding.
He's good riding here.
So as Knaven just gone through the finish area too, he's off the back. He looked like he had a problem, the speed at which he's going through with the team cars. It didn't give the impression that he was struggling from any problem other than his with the puncture. I think it was David Echevarria from Spain has just gone through, and he was going very quickly indeed, so if he links up with Moerenhout, they should be all right then. So about 10-second lead for this little group, which includes Taffy and the 2 men who started it first of all. Have now got a couple up here with them.
Taffy is working. Yeah. that's what you do in the Tour de France always.
No, but this is the World Championships. There's loads of Italians back there, and he's not supposed to be the man to win today, is he?
Yeah. That's good. Oh, Jackie Durand's there.
Yes. Now there's 2 nutcases, isn't there? Durand and Taffy.
Beautiful group.
Hey, what would he be?
But what now?
Those 2 together in a time trial over about 150 kilometres. Nobody would win, would they? That's just a desperate thing.
Yeah. It's a shame that Trofei Baraki is not there anymore. And there he's coming again.
Yeah.
Jackie Durand.
So that's number 27, Den Bakker at the back. Well, he's done his work to get that far. I suppose he's taking a bit of a breather now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting some of the abandoned riders up on my list now. Anderson's abandoned, Course gone out, Zanini we just seen's abandoned as well, and Andre Dolges from Russia's abandoned, Lars Mikkelsen, Denmark's abandoned, Dylan Casey from America's abandoned, Nierman from Germany's abandoned, Sipkolski from Poland's gone, Hondo, Germany's gone, Branko from Slovenia's gone, Yukov, Russia, he's packed it up too. Roger Hammer, we know he's gone from Great Britain. And Kurt Asel Arberson from Norway has retired. Gonzalez from Spain, Timothy Christopher from Australia, the Mexican rider Zarate is also gone. Delakina went to an early break, he's packed it up too. The other Russian rider, Surkov, has stopped as well. Murozev of Kazakhstan has abandoned, Uriarty of Spain has abandoned, Sivakov of Russia's abandoned, Baranovsky of Poland, that's a disappointing one for Poland and for the US Postal, he's knocked it on the head and abandoned. Giovannian of Russia's gone, David Plaza of Spain's abandoned, Nikolai Bo Larsen, he's also climbed off his bike, and Crystal Horn of the USA probably on his way to San Diego, he's also abandoned. So that's the list of riders who've climbed off. There'll be a little more than that, but that was just the list I've got as at now. So that breakaway group then, which is establishing itself at the front, still within sight of the main pack. These are 5 men with, as ever, Andrea Taffy grinding away to try and open up a gap, but they'll have to keep going a bit strongly on this part. They were well in sight of the main group before they head in towards the next short, sharp climb, and when they come through, just 3 laps to go next time round. The chase group here much thinned down. We started with the thick end of 153 riders, just one non-starter, Simeone from Italy, and we also, I think, had one more non-starter. So we have 151 riders started, but it's thinned down now. I think we've only got half the field left, and they are the hard men in this race. We're coming round now. They will complete at the end of this lap their 11th lap, and we've got the breakaway group of Ertz, Denbacher, Taffy and Jackie Durand, who've prize themselves off the front of this group, but they're only about 50 meters away from the main pack, and even I looked down at my notes, they might well have been caught, but it's not the ideal place to stay away on this open road. You really have to start going in the narrow part further on, and the race then still, yes, I think they've just been caught, haven't they, Jean-Paul? They're making it, I think that's Taffy back on the front, isn't it?
Yeah, they're back. The gap was not that big anymore. They take it back, and this is the place where many attacks we see every lap again.
Russell, you've been down inside the pits, and certainly one or two people abandoning so far. It doesn't seem to have been many English-speaking riders down there. What's the atmosphere like down the pits? Yeah,
there's not too many English-speaking riders, but I had a little chat with the Americans, and they're really excited about Lance Armstrong. Also, funny enough, I bumped into Roger DeFlarmick. He loves this sort of weather, a former cyclocross world champion. And I said to him, who's your tip for today? He said Lance Armstrong. But what I was going to ask Jean-Paul, I said, now we're getting close to the end, Jean-Paul. How do you see, what is the plan now for the Dutch team?
The plan is that they always in the group and who's in front. That's what we saw. They do that perfectly. There's always 2, 3, even 4 guys in the front, so that can't be better. So the most important is we bring Michael Bogert to the final, and we are in the final now. In the front, Michael Bogert and Leon van Bon. And these 2 guys looks to me they have the good form, they have the spirit, and I think they're gonna be very good today.
When you say bring them to the front, okay, well, Bogaerts is not a sprinter. Surely he must attack with what, 2, 3 laps to go?
No, I think you have, yeah, 2 laps to go, and you have to be in the front. So I think the next lap on the Kouwberg, maybe we have not a definite lead, but we have a group in front with the better riders in front. Maybe Miguel Bartoli with maybe a Bogert, maybe with Armstrong. We will see, and then. Yeah, 2 laps to go. I think they have to go. Next lap is next time on the Kouwberg. That's time to go for the better riders, for the final riders, because this Kouwberg is not hard enough to break the peloton at once. So they need 2, 3 times to do that.
Somebody's telling me actually, Jean-Paul, that the Kouwberg now isn't as tough as it used to be. It seems to, they said first of all it used to have cobbles on it anyway, and it was either narrower or they've done something to sculpture it for the road. I don't know whether you've noticed any difference in it, but I think he was saying to me that it didn't seem to be the hard climb it used to be in some years gone by. I don't know what he says.
No, it's not that hard, and so. All the races in like 10 years, 20 years ago, the Kouwberg was a real hill, but every races in Europe, everywhere, are still harder and harder every time. So we have a different peloton than 20 years ago. They're all a little bit of climbers in the peloton. Nobody has to worry about the Kouwberg. So that's the difference with 20 years ago. So the Kouwberg, it's a hard hill, of course, for the tourists, but for this real professionals like we've seen here, the Kouwberg is just 800 meters, and you can't do it with the big ring. in the final you have to do it with the big ring. So I expect next time on the Cowberg, the good guys like Armstrong and Taffy, they're gonna use the big ring, and then we will see.
The other thing which struck me too, looking back at the old photographs and the old news footage of cycle racing, you say that seem to be bigger and stronger and the roads are slightly different now, is that how much more close together they're riding. In the old days, they all seem to be riding almost like Jenny Longo rode the other day with great gaps between them. But the tactics of these riders now, it's I suppose the difference between the best guys and the not so good guys seems to be narrower. The whole way in which they ride is transformed, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why it's so important you use the good tactic for the races. Until so far for the Dutch, it was a good race, so I hope they continue to race like this. And the Italian, yeah, they miss it all. Taffy is riding a stupid race. He's attacking from lap 6 before the end, a block. So I don't think we have to expect him in the final for that. Bartoli has changed his bike a few times, and he's coming back after a crash. Well, that's the most important guys from the Italian. Armstrong is good in the race. Yeah,
one man that we haven't spotted so well, let's see if we can find him, is Chamil riding for Belgium. I mean, he's obviously from Moldavian, Russian originally, but
yeah, he's riding for the Belgium.
Oh, he's doing a painting on the side there, and that's interesting to see he's doing. They're climbing up this particular part of the course, and on the left-hand side, you look at it, this is where there's a nice bar, which last time the World Champions were here, the Germans stayed here with Olaf Ludwig stayed in the race, and if you have a chance of looking across there, where you might see the dog, it's called Jambo. It's their Rottweiler, so don't get drunk and disorderly in the pub there, because they'll have the Rottweiler onto you. Jambo, that's his name. At least I knew his name in case I had to sort of shout him down. If we go up here too, this, by the way, is part of the old Roman road that linked to Maastricht and Aachen, and up toward the top of this particular climb, the cameras may or may not pick it up. There's on the left-hand side, there's a memorial to a man called Petrus Kikin, who on the 26th of April 1867, the age of 40, was killed in an accident with a horse and cart. They were going on the old Roman road, so they put a memorial up to him. 1867, just think about that. But it was an amazing bit of old road, and this road isn't totally. If it goes down to the right-hand side, we can see it going through the woods. The Romans used to build their roads remarkably straight, and in recent years they've scalloped the road to make the climb somewhat easier compared with their own road. They used to cut straight through, because Maastricht was a Roman settlement many years ago, a very ancient part of the world, and the Romans were the first to build a bridge over the River Maas. They built a wooden bridge there, and then eventually, when various other people tried to come and pinch it off, they had to build a castle roundabout, I think, fortified the town. And since then, Maastricht's been involved in so many wars, you could shake a stick at it. They seem always wanted to pinch the town of Maastricht. That's just down the road from here, but we're out in the countryside near Valkenburg. They begin to drop down in towards Valkenburg now, and that nasty Coburg climb yet to come. Yet again, the Dutch are powering away on the front here. This is a phenomenal piece of bike riding by them.
Jean-Paul, we see the Dutch at the front, but I'm sure I just saw at the back, the last man was Michael Bogarts. Surely he shouldn't be at the back there. Surely he should be at the front.
Yeah, for sure. And now we see Leon van Bonn is in the front. And I think the tactic from the Dutch is try to be always in the front, so that the Italian and the other teams always have to chase. And that's what they're doing now. But for Van Bonn, it's most important to come to the Cowberg a little bit in front with a little group chasing, and then the chasing group can come to him, and then it's much easier for him.
Well, we've still got hell of a top-line bike riders still in this bunch, and the question is who's going to have the strength when we come to that climb to go away. Is that Chamil coming through now? At long last. We said we were looking for him, didn't we? There he pops out, because not used to looking for him in the blue Belgian jersey, eh? So Andre Chamil, who's now taken over Belgian nationality, he really is a man of this part of the world, a very tough, hard rider, and so we'll have to see how he goes in the race so far. Ross. Well, we've just got Henrik Dance come along here, and so Russell, who's our sort of tame interviewer, have a quick word with Henrik. I'm very pleased to see another very hard Belgian rider, knows a lot about this particular thing. Henrik, as you come just to join us along here, this seems to be a very tough and hard man's race so far. Have you got any predictions who's going to come out winner at the end of it all?
I hope it's going to be one of our teams, and I'm tipping Peter van Petegem or Sergei Ivanov. And I saw him just passing the line here last lap, and he looked very, very good still. He's having a little bit trouble in the beginning. He's always riding at the end of his group, and it takes a lot of strength for that. But now I think he's working good, and I'm going still for him.
No, we're all saying what a disgusting day, but you from Belgium, do you think it's a nice, lovely day for bike racing?
It's maybe not for a lot of riders. They like more the summer. For one-day race, it should be possible. I didn't mind when I was rider, but of course it's very hard now.
Russell wants to have a question.
Henrik, let me just ask you this question. You said one of your boys. Hang on, let me get this right. You are Belgium. So you should be going for Chamil, surely, not your sponsor. Which comes first, your national country of Belgium?
Who pays the bills?
Or TVN?
Yeah, I must say I don't really approve this reglement. It's UCI, it's all right, but for me, I'm paying always the riders. So for me, somebody of the team must win.
Well, we'll have to see where that, because this is a particular thing that Jean-Paul Van Pop was saying. It was the split between the team requirements and also the national requirements, and it's still a lot to play for in this race. When they come through the end of this one, we really will see, I think, the warm attrition to run into the finish of 15 laps.